Good morning everyone, this is Shailja Reddy, Assistant Professor of English Department. Today we are going to learn about vocabulary. In vocabulary you are going to learn about word formation, that means how does words forms. Okay, this is from your first unit. So let us go into what is this, what counts under word formation and what's the definition of word formation. The term word formation refers to the process through which new words are created. Okay, in linguistic, word formation is the creation of a new word. Word formation is sometimes contrasted with semantic change, which is a change in a single word's meaning. The boundary between word formation and semantic change can be difficult to define, as a new use of an old word can be seen as a new word derived from an old one and identical to it. So normally this word formation is done in different ways. There are different types of word formation. Um, when you look into your vocabulary or vocabulary development, in a sentence a word can be used as a noun, a verb, adjective, or an adverb. So we can improve our vocabulary by using different words in different grammatical functions. So for example, a student of science, engineering and technology must be able to identify the grammatical functions and build his vocabulary. Sometimes we can identify the grammatical function of a word by looking at its form, especially the suffix of the word. For example, the suffix ion comes at the end of a noun. Similarly, the suffix ate comes at the end of a verb. So this is about suffixes and suffixes. Okay, here before going into the suffixes, let me talk about different types of word formation here. In that first one, you can learn about compound words, where you are combining two words like break and fast. So when you combine both this break and fast, becomes breakfast. Okay, then comes derivation. Under derivation you are going to learn about prefix and suffixes, okay, which I'm going to deal with that topic now. And then comes a blending. Blending is something where you are taking the first part of a word and combining with the second part of the last part of a second word, and it becomes a new word. It gives rise to a new word. So for example, for blending is hotel, 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 plus motor, motor. So when you are taking the first letter of motel, that is mo, and hotel, hotel, so where you are removing the first two letters and adding the tel, so it becomes motel. Motel is a place where in foreign countries, this are very famous, where bike riders or the people who drive on the road, they can come there and they can eat and take rest for some time. So the best example for this one is we in our India we call them as dabas. Okay, that's about blending. Then you have acronyms. Acronyms are the words where you take the first letter of each word and you will pronounce it as word, not as letters. So I'm going to deal with this subtopics in my future sessions. But today we are going to learn about derivations. Under derivations, that is, you are going to learn about prefix and suffix. So let us see what is a prefix. A prefix is a word which plays before a root word. So let's see some examples of prefixes over here. The first example is I am im plus peril, imperial. Add plus monish, admonish. Inter plus sept, intercept. You have many more examples over here. Sub means, the meaning for sub is under, and the when you are using this in a word, you can use it as submarine. Then semi means half, that means semi-final. And then dis means not, opposite of, or disgraceful. Next example is ex, that is ex means former. Former, the or the older. So ex wife. Then the next example is mid. Mid means middle. So when you are learning about prefixes, it's important that you also learn about the prefix. What does that prefix means? Because this is going to be helpful for you in your exams, because they're going to ask questions in this way, like you have to give the meaning for the prefixes. For example, sub, what does that sub mean, or this, or ex, or mid, or para, etc, etc. Okay, so first you know the meaning for the suffix or the prefix, then it will be easy for you to create new words. Then you have un means not, unfriendly. Miss means wrongly, misunderstand. Then the meaning for is again. The example for prefix is reuse. Then the meaning for is before. The example for this prefix is preschool. Then omni means all or every. So the example for this omni is omnibus, omniscient. Then the next example is post. The meaning for post is after. The example for this one is postmortem or postpone. Okay, then the next example is try. Try, the meaning for try is 3, and the example for this try prefix is tripod or tricycle. Then you have example mono means single or one. So the example for prefix mono is monotone or monolithic. So these are some of the examples of prefix. A prefix is a word where a group of letters or a word has been placed in front of a root word. Okay, I have explained about some of the examples. Then we will go into the next continuation topic of this one is suffixes. A suffix is a word which is placed at the end of or after a root word. So here's the suffix is a word which is placed at the end of a root word. Okay, so let us look into the examples of this suffix. The first example is free plus dumb. So here a freedom, when you are joining this two, it becomes freedom. Freedom or stardom. DOM is the suffix here. Then the next example is readable. So read plus able. Able is the suffix here. So for this able, you can give a number of examples like readable, capable, applicable, etc, etc. Okay, then the next example is ISM. That means doctrine or belief. So it's Judaism or skepticism. The next example is ment. MENT. Ment means condition. So here the example for ment suffix is enhancement, augment, or you have a number of examples over here, punishment, etc. Then the next example is NESS. NESS means state of being. Okay, that's the meaning of NESS, state of being. The examples for this ness suffix is happiness, sadness, weirdness, etc, etc. Then the next example is ship. SHIP. This ship is not the one which sails on the water. This is another ship that the meaning for this ship is position held. Example for this one is friendship, internship. The next example is ATE. Ate. So here ate is not something when you eat, the past tense of eating. So this is something different, because we are talking about suffixes. So here ate means become. The examples for ate suffixes create, mediate, immediate, etc. Then the next example is full. FUL, full. The meaning for full is notable for. Examples handful, skillful, beautiful, dreadful, etc, etc. Then the next example is less. LESS, less. Less means without. So here the example for less suffix is suffix are meaningless, homeless, shameless, shapeless, etc, etc. Then the next one Next example is ward, W-A-R-D. You can also use as S also. Ward means direction. Okay. The examples for direction is towards, inward, afterward, forward, etc., etc. And the last example for the suffix is wise, W-I-S-E. Wise, the meaning for this wise suffix is in relation to. The examples for this one is otherwise, likewise, clockwise. So this is about synonyms and antonyms, which comes under word formation. Okay, and the other kind of word formation you are going to learn in the future classes. So today's class I have dealt with the definition of word formation. Here what does word formation refers? Okay, it refers to the process through which new words are created. Then we have talked about prefixes. What does a prefix mean? With examples. Then suffixes, also with examples. That's all for today's class. Hope you understood the topic. Thank you.